Hello, it's Saturday afternoon. It's almost 3 o'clock, about 10 to 3. Putting the final touches on this before the clear coat goes on, and then I'll start the decaling. As you can tell, I have painted the base a nice glossy black, and I am protecting the front of the nacelles from this overspray. I want to keep them nice and clean. I don't want them to get any of the clear spray on them. So the next step is to put a clear gloss on. A clear gloss. I'm not a big fan of clear gloss, but people that I know and respect use a clear gloss under their decals. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to clear gloss, particularly in the areas where the decals are going to go. I'm not going to try to cover the whole ship in it, because after the decals go down, you seal them in with another coat of clear gloss after a couple of days, and then you do a matte gloss or not a matte gloss, that's a contradiction. You do a matte coat or matte clear or a flat clear over top of the whole thing. So right now I'm at the stage of going to take the places where it's going to get the decals and do a clear coat over them. But right now I've got some paint to dry, so that'll be the next step. Okay, because I like you so much, I am going to share with you one of my oldest trade secrets for a good finish, or at least a finish that I like. When I am done painting a ship, even the best of ships, I cannot paint everything with an airbrush. You have to do hand brushing on details, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's hell, before airbrushes, that's all I ever did. But problem with problem with brushing by hand is you have a tendency to leave things on a little bit too thick, and you'll see brush strokes, and it won't be as even as you get with an airbrush. That's why they invented airbrushes. But let me tell you what I do as a last step. There is a paint that Polyscale makes, and it is called dust. It is my secret weapon. It is a milky white, much like there are smoke colored paints that give you a darker detail. The dust will actually give you a milkier white detail, and I spray that dust liberally over the whole ship when I am done. Now you still see I've got the fronts masked off, but that dust paint does two things. It knocks down the color brightnesses of it, so you get a more cohesive color palette. You don't get things that jarring and standing out. Plus it also will go over top of things that you've painted by hand and give it a more flat finish. Now that gold, or this goldish color that I painted over the center there, I painted that all by hand, but by going over it with the dust and over this bit, which is to me it clears over top of that, the dust knocked that down. It flattened it and knocked it down. It flattened it, plus it gave it a more of an overall finish over the hand painted colors, and makes them look more like the airbrushed colors, because now they have a cohesive color or unified color over top of all of them that kind of knocks out the brush strokes. But that's just between you and me. Don't tell anybody. That's the last step. Right now I'm going to let this dry, and then give it a couple of hours, and then I'm going to hit it with the gloss coat and start decaling. And here we are outside. I am spraying the clear gloss finish on the ship. I'll do this 2 or 3 times to build up a good gloss, and I keep stepping in and out of shadow, so I hope the balance doesn't go awry. See the nice gloss that's happening on the base. That's sweet. Still have those caps protected. I'm trying to get down below it here so we can see what's going on. Looking very nice. Nice on the base. Okay, zoom back out. I am torn with the idea of leaving this outside to kind of dry, only because, as you can tell by the activities out here, the leaves are falling and squirrels are jumping about and things like that are happening, and I don't want anything untoward to either land on this or knock it over. So if I bring it back in the house, it's going to be oh so stinky. So I think I'll just sit out here and tend it for a while, maybe get myself a cold beer and pull up a chair and enjoy the nature. You can see the gloss finish happening. You see the shine happening on it. Let me focus. That's focusing on the grass. Come on, focus up front. You can see the gloss happening there. That I'll knock that back down, but it's handy for decaling, and then you get rid of it again with a flat coat. And good evening, and it's finally come down to this. We are ready to start putting the decals on. What I need to do now is, I've got the ship nice and glossy. It's GNG, it's good and glossy. It's up on its, put the camera on here. It's on its back like a helpless little baby. And I need to take the sheet and cut out the decals that I'm going to be using for the bottom side. That'll include this horrendously big number here. Not wild about it, but it's canon. You got to put it on there. There is a big fat circle that goes around here. There is all of these intricate little belly markings, and there's a couple of phaser banks back there, or I guess they're navigational thrusters back there. And so the next thing I need to do is cut them out from the sheet. Okay, as you can tell, I've got the first of the decals on. Those ones right in there, and one's going down the spine there, and all the belly decals, which I'm not going to flip it over now to show you, and the underside of the saucer decals, those rings, which are not the most fun thing in the world to wrestle into place, and it's debatable how accurate those are and how well I got them in place. And then that big huge number there. Those are in place, and the belly ones, like I said, let me get around to them. Zoom out. There's those ones, and then those ones are in place. And I think that's all I'm going to do for this evening. It's tough to they start overlapping. I mean, the areas that you're trying to keep away from are overlapping the areas you've got decals on, and if you're not careful, you can bump one with your hand and knock it out of whack. So I'm gonna let those. No, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna do two more. I'm gonna do those side ones, and maybe the pennants on the side there too. Then I could set it aside. And there's the results of the decaling for the rest of the evening. Now see, I did end up bumping into myself and having to reposition some stuff, so that is why I decided to stop with what I did. I may, mind you, end up cutting the decal back to where, cutting this ring decal back to where that gray stops. The decals, along with many other things, the way this instructions for this model are not the most accurate in the world, so they may not be accounting for those rings don't account for the darkened area under the neck or any of that kind of stuff, so they're a good place to start, but I wouldn't take them as gospel. So we're going to let that sit for a while. Let's put some lights on. Pull away all the these are the decals I have yet to use down in that stack there. But let's plug this in. Haven't seen it lit for a while. There. And that off. Look at that lens flare. Ooh. Not going to put those on. Very tempted to put those numbers on right there. Not going to do it. And I think the deflector's out in the other room. I think that, yeah, it's out in the other room. I think that's going to be it for this evening.